1999's The Mummy is known for a couple of things: old school adventure, horrific CGI, and the bisexual confusion of an entire generation. This really is one of the best adventure movies of all time, with everything you need and want from a nail-biting, sand under your foreskin type of action movie. Some movies just get it right. With the potential return of badass Rick O'Connell and his gang of mates, I am of course looking at the 1999 classic The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, and Arnold Voss. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or as usual, I'll kill the family dog. If by some bloody chance you're living under a rock in the 2000s and you haven't seen 1999's The Mummy, it's a kind of remake of the classic 1930s Mummy movie, but of course with a modern post-Indiana Jones flair. I mean, you have your classic Tomb Raider protagonist in the form of an Indiana Jones ripoff that surprisingly holds up by himself in Rick O'Connell, played by the now Oscar winner and nice guy Brendan Fraser, in his most golden role to date. We got a dame in distress, we've got treasure, we've got betrayal, we've got everything that you want from an old serial type adventure. Now, it is a pretty fairly easy story to get your head around when you actually just think about it for 1 second. There's a guy in Egypt many moons ago called Imhotep, and he tried to do a mutiny on the emperor. Failing this mission, he's mummified, alive of course, and a curse is set upon him by one of those bloody Sherpa women or whatever. Now we fast forward to the late 1920s. There's a place in the desert, hidden from the unseeing eye, the City of the Dead. Hero, it's on the screen right now. Here we meet our character, our hero, treasure hunter, Rick O'Connell, defending himself with the help of the French army, fighting against a seamlessly endless army of native fighters. Probably a hidden metaphor somewhere there, or maybe it's right in your face. Who's to say? The French and O'Connor attempt to defend themselves. However, the slippery frog, Benny, slips through the door of the tomb, leaving O'Connell to get captured and set to hang. This is where we're introduced to the gorgeous and equally intelligent librarian Evelyn, played by the sexy motherfucker Rachel Weisz. She is a goofball, with her first scene having knocking down every bookcase in the library in a sort of domino type fashion. She manages to figure out that Rick O'Connell, the only person who knows where the City of the Dead is about to be hanged by the locals, so she runs to save the day. Managing to barter with a creepy as fuck warden of the prison, she saves his life, but only after he gets hanged. This is a famous horror story in the Hollywood stunt world, as he got seriously injured. Rachel Weisz says in a report that he actually stopped breathing and had to get resuscitated. Brendan Fraser has reported himself that he has never been the same after this incident. For the next 2 sequels and multiple movies after that, his body was fucked, leading to his retirement from acting until his Oscar-winning comeback in the most overrated movie ever made, The Whale. He's brilliant, but it is a boring as fuck movie, I do have to say. Imprisoned adventurer Rick O'Connell leads an exploration to the City of the Dead, a place that contains some of the most important figures in ancient Egypt, including the mad mutiny leader Imhotep, played by Arnold Voss. Joined by the sexy Rachel Weisz and her brother Jonathan, the creepy prison warden, and a group of arrogant American treasure hunters, never forgetting the slimy French frog Benny, who's playing every side he can at all times, and he's causing as much problem, and I don't understand why Rick O'Connell doesn't just shove one of his guns up his ass and empty the clip. Maybe I just think a little differently to him. After Evelyn decides to read the Book of the Dead, accidentally awakening Imhotep from his mummification-induced coma, the camp is attacked by a swarm of locusts, forcing the group to take refuge in the tomb. There are some pretty fucking crazy deaths in this movie for a kid's adventure film. People are getting eaten alive multiple times, it happens. Scarabs going through people's skins, people landing on spikes. It's awesome, and they do a fantastic job of showing you just enough for your imagination to complete the picture, giving them access to a much lower rating, so they managed to get 12, I think this was, in the UK. I'm pretty sure this was a 12. One by one, they are killed by various things, and then eventually Imhotep manages to isolate one of the Americans who has lost his glasses, taking his eyes and tongue for his own body with a plan to rebuild himself. Evelyn stumbles across this horrific scene, and Imhotep notices her and immediately is blown away as she looks like his old flame. He decides that she is the reincarnation of his lover, sparing his life and wishing them to be together. It's quite horrific. It's a bit weird, not gonna lie. But Rick manages to get there just in time, blasting him away, all managing to escape the tomb, with the native defenders, led by the cool-looking warrior Abdeth Bey, waiting for them outside in a shocking twist. Oh wait, they're the good guys, devoted for thousands of years to make sure that this unholy evil doesn't get released. Oops, that didn't go well. Thank you, Rachel Weisz's character. In Cairo, Rick is introduced to the Avengers of Mummy killing, including the librarian from earlier that told off Rachel Weisz for knocking over all of the bookshelves. They are all there there to explain the story of betrayal, love, and death that left to Imhotep. And he is scared of cats, apparently. Benny the snake manages to sneak into Cairo, and once again, I feel bad for this Yank. Isolate the guy that lost his tongues and his eye in the tomb, and basically, they suck the life force out of him, finally killing him, and bringing Imhotep to the human form, played by Arnold Volos. Still not complete, we get the great shot of the bug crawling around him through his neck and into his mouth before him eating it. The CGI isn't amazing, because again, it's 1999, but honestly, not very distracting. It's great, and it's not until we get to the infamous sequel that they really start trying to push the boundaries, and we get that dreadful, infamous Scorpion King. Rick uses the knowledge of Imhotep's fear of cats to warn him away back again, but he manages to kidnap Evelyn, leading Rick, Jonathan, and Adif Bey to get the assistance of eager RAF pilot Winston Havelock, who takes them back to the city of the dead before Imhotep can sacrifice Evelyn and finally fulfill the curse. Unfortunately, Imhotep uses a giant sand wall with a big face to knock the plane out of the sky, sadly killing our newest compadre, Winston. Unable to get him out, he goes down with his plane as it slips into quicksand, and he's gone forever. Getting into the tomb is the easy part. Getting to the older room is not. They finally find Evelyn tied down. Hey, maybe it's not such a bad thing after all, having her tied down, you know what I mean? Anyways, Rick does a fantastic job at swinging at nothing but CGI skeletons. Apparently they had to choreograph this scene pretty tightly because there aren't any practical people on sets to even fill it in, and it doesn't look that bad, honestly. There's enough tension and violence in this film to get your dick wet and hard. Feeling the bastard, the group leave, vowing to never do it again, and how wrong they are because there's a sequel and there's another one where they're in China. Anyway, Rick and Evelyn share a kiss, and that's kind of the end. I hope you enjoyed this. I washed over a lot of the charm that separates this movie from other adventure movies of this era, and even before, just sort of the lesser known ones. It's genuinely enjoyable movie with plenty of laughs, sexy golden people, mythology that doesn't give you a headache, and yeah, it's just a good movie. Highly recommend. The Mummy 1999 had a budget of $80 million. It had brought back a whopping $416.4 million, making it the 8th biggest movie of 1999, behind great hits such as Big Daddy, The Matrix, and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, among many others. Because of its impressive return, it spawned a highly successful franchise, including 2 direct sequels, The Mummy Returns and The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, a direct prequel spin-off, which spawned its own franchise of straight-to-DVD sequels. It's just a good movie. Highly recommend. If you have another movie that you want me to watch and talk whatever I do when I talk through it and just badly summarize it up, anyway, please let me know in the comments. Never forget that I love you all. Tell your friends, tell your nan that I'm single and looking for a sugar gammy. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, because as usual, I will kill the family dog. Thank you very much, and goodbye.